Okay, I'm gathering another emergency meeting here because we need to talk about the Celestial Nirvana collection that was just announced yesterday. So I'm just going to be doing my makeup. I'm not going to mention anything besides the eyeshadows, because for eyeshadows I actually just wanted to dip into the Celestial Odyssey, which is the mega mothership from last year, and I thought it would be, you know, a good time to discuss the new Celestial Nirvana while using Celestial Odyssey. In one of my previous videos I mentioned that I was expecting the new mega mothership to be announced, and lo and behold, a couple of days ago she teased a new mega mothership, at least from what we could tell from the outside of the collection. And then yesterday she did a full reveal, and I think blew everyone's mind, because in fact it's not just the mega mothership that she's releasing, it is a whole full-blown epic collection. And she has done like full-on collections for Christmas before, but in previous years she always released the mega mothership a little bit earlier, and then the rest of the collection came more towards like November or something, so a little bit later in the year. Maybe not November, maybe October, but you know, a little bit later, not everything at once. And this year she's pulling out all the guns, everything is coming out at once, and it is a lot, you guys. If you have your eye on a lot of the items in the collection, prepare for a really spendy end of the month, because I expect that this will be available probably towards the end of September for purchasing. I'm going to put a picture somewhere here so that you can follow a little bit, but basically the collection contains quite a number of items. It contains, of course, a mega mothership palette. We're going to break it down and talk about everything individually, but I'm just going to list now the items that are present in the collection. There are two quints. Is it quints or quintets? I feel like when I was doing my Dior video I was saying quintet, and maybe that's the wrong word. Two 5-pan palettes. There are two blush highlighter palettes. There is an individual blush, an individual highlighter. There is that black thick pencil thing that she released also with the Bridgerton 2 collection. There are two lipsticks, a red and a nude. What else is there? Oh yeah, of course, and there are three colorful mascaras. Apparently we're back in the 90s. So there are a lot of things to unpack here about this whole collection. Personally, I think this is an absolutely phenomenal collection. I think it is probably one of the best holiday collections we're going to see out there this year, and not only because of how extensive it is, but because of how many different like tastes it covers, honestly. It is just so extensive that I cannot imagine that there isn't something for everyone out there. You know, in the PAT McGRATH quality, something that you can give as a gift or enjoy for yourself. There's something for the fans, like the hardcore PAT McGRATH fans. There is something for the people out there who want something a little bit, you know, more subtle to give as a gift to their loved ones for the holiday collection. There's just a little bit of everything. Now let's talk about each individual item in the collection, obviously starting with the mega mothership, because obviously that is like the, so far, the kind of like the centerpiece of the collection. It contains, again, I think the same number of eyeshadows that the others have, which is, look, what is it, like 18 eyeshadows or something like that. And this time, luckily, it doesn't contain that stupid empty space that we got in Celestial Odyssey. So in Celestial Odyssey we got her logo here, so it was, I don't know, I felt like it was a little bit weird to slap the logo in there. But okay, we're getting another one of those palettes without the stupid empty space in the middle. This palette is really good news for all of you hardcore fans of PAT McGRATH out there, you know, myself included, although I didn't specifically ask for this. But the good news is that it seems like Pat is listening to what we are saying. She's finally giving the crowds colorful mattes. People have been asking her for colorful mattes ever since the disappointment of 2021 Utopian Dream, which a lot of people thought would be a rainbow palette, and it wasn't. Or at least I think it was a rainbow palette undercover. It was not a literal interpretation of the rainbow, which I really liked. This mega palette is more of like a literal interpretation of the rainbow, because what is quite distinct about this palette is that the ratio of mattes to shimmers is more balanced in a way, because a lot of the mattes that we're getting this year are, Yay for those of you who really wanted that colorful matte. There is a forest green, there is a dark blue, there are I think 2 purples in there. There are of course some warmer like reddish pinkish mattes. There are also some brown shades of course. So overall it is quite much more balanced in the ratio between the shimmers and the mattes. What I also find really cool is that the Mega Mothership is basically like separated into 3 distinct 6-pan eyeshadows. So we've got a neutral with a pop of green. There is a cooler toned like blue purple toned 6-pan in there, and there is of course the pinky gold 6-panner at the very right corner of the palette. We see what you're doing there, Pat. We see you, okay? There is an expression in Bulgarian. It's like we say when someone's throwing like dust or like sand in your eyes to basically like cover up something that they don't want you to see. So she's throwing all these like colorful mattes our direction, so we're kind of distracted and we don't talk about the pinks and the golds that are still present in the palette. We see you, Pat. We see you, okay? I personally am okay with that because I think the intention of the palette is she makes these palettes to be incredibly versatile and to cover as many bases as possible, and I think she's been getting better and better at that, because the original Celestial Divinity I think was a little bit more limited because it was filled with a lot of like magenta purples, or at least like in my mind there was like a predominance of magenta purples in there. And then I think Celestial Odyssey was where she gave you really so many options to do quite a variety of different things, or at least that's my personal opinion. I find Celestial Odyssey to be a very versatile palette, and I can see how the Celestial Nirvana will be even more versatile given the variety of different mattes that are present in there. This was the general information that I have for the Mega Mothership Celestial Nirvana, and now I want to talk about what I think about it. I will probably have a super unpopular opinion, but I personally wasn't waiting for PAT to release colorful mattes because, yeah, I don't know, that's something that I use so much these days that I would require from PAT. And also it eats up from the metallics and the shimmers that she does so well, that I personally want to get more from her. I'm a huge fan of her metallics and her duochrome shades, so by me we could have more of these in her Mega Mothership palettes. I don't need that many mattes, but I also am very happy for those of you who really wanted to have colorful mattes. And I also think it's very smart of her to release those colorful mattes in a holiday collection, because it gives her the chance to say, listen, I gave you what you asked for, now shut up and let me do my thing. So if I were you, I wouldn't hold my breath for seeing these colorful mattes back in her Mothership palettes. Although I think the occasional like indigo blue or dark forest green wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but I personally feel like this palette is here to, first of all, give us something different, and I think it's really smart to do something different than what she has done before. And it is also here to shut up everyone who was begging her to do colorful mattes. And it's great doing them like this in the setup of a cheaper palette, one that is only here for the holidays and is not, you know, her permanent aesthetic, let's say. So I think it's also a really smart move to give the crowds what they want in a more approachable format, and not necessarily a format that is here to stay. Because like Celestial Divinity and Celestial Odyssey have been gone. Like, I don't think you can buy either of these palettes anymore unless she opens the vault. As far as the metallics and the shimmers go in that palette, it's very hard to say. I'm hoping that there are some good, you know, neutral shades with a twist in there, but it's very hard to tell based on like either the photo or the super filtered video that she usually posts on her Instagram. I think we're only going to be able to tell what those really are is when we receive our palettes. Sticking with the eyeshadows, it seems like this year we're not getting look squads. We are getting the 2 5-pan palettes, and when I first saw the 2 5-pan palettes, at least in like her super sparkly filtered video, it seemed like the metallics might be in her baked formula. However, Trendmood had a description underneath the post regarding these 5-pans with the information that they contain new formula. I don't know what she means by new formula. Sadly, I don't think these are going to be baked, which is a bummer. And what I suspect a little bit she might be calling new formula is her new Blitz Astral formula, which is the non-baked version of the Astral Blitz and VR shades. So possibly it's that, possibly it's some sort of completely new innovative formula, which would be awesome as well. But with that said, I'm really missing the baked shades in her collection. I really wouldn't have minded if she had added like 2 Blitz Astral quads to the collection for those of us who really want that. You know, give the people their colorful mattes in the Mega Mothership, but like give us our Blitz Astral quads please in the baked formula for those of us who really crave those. Other than that, I don't really have any qualm with these quins. I think they're beautiful, and it seems like one is a little bit more of like a mauve purple leaning, and the second one is the more like neutral cool leaning one. I personally really want the neutral cool leaning one. I've been secretly thinking about maybe getting both, but then like those mauve purple things really are not exactly my color story, so I would be getting that just because I have an unhealthy need to try it for myself to see if it really isn't for me. So I'm not sure, I might get it, and then eventually if it really doesn't work out for me, I will give it away or sell it. But I will tell you in the end what I plan on getting from the collection, but for now let's just go over the items. I think again the 2 5-panners are an extremely smart move on her side. One sec, grabbing my Fix Plus here, because for everyone who doesn't want the color and just wants, you know, a simple glam neutral look from Pat McGrath, there you go. You have the 2 different 5-panners to choose from. You can go in a more like neutral cool direction, or you can choose the more Natasha Denona retro-esque type of palette for those who feel more comfortable with their mauve purples. So super smart move on her side to release those, and also again something different from what she's done before compared to the look squads that she did in the previous few years. I find the color stories of those to be quite coherent. I think they're super cute. I think they're very they're going to probably be very travel friendly, and with those color stories they're going to be great for traveling. They're really compact, so overall I also think these 5-panners are an extremely smart move. Let me zoom you into the eye look now. Okay, let's quickly go over the look that I want to do with the Celestial Odyssey palette, so I don't have to like hold it up again, because these are extremely hard to hold up. I'm going to put the warm toned transition matte here through my crease. I'm going to pop the tiniest bit of this more berry shade in the outer corners of my eyes. Then I'm going to put this shade over here, which Bronze Venus, right? No, Rose Venus. I was thinking about it yesterday for some reason, that I really want to wear Rose Venus. It's been a while. All over my lids. And then I'm going to put this one through my inner corners. I might actually layer a little bit of Bronze Nova here over Rose Venus, because I think that might look really interesting together. And then on my lower lash line I'm going to use the absolutely gorgeous Citrine Envy to match a little bit the green detail that I have with my vest. So with that said, let's continue chatting about the collection, because that's the priority here. Now let's talk about the blush highlighter palettes. So you have these like 4 blushes and that long stripe on the side, which is a highlighter. I initially thought, phew, I'm safe, because these look like they will be all repeat shades and I don't need to get them at all. But then when I was reading the descriptions on Trendmood's post again, it seems like there will actually be new shades of blushes in those palettes. And then she goes and cleverly calls one of those blushes Desert Orchid 2, and now I want it. Desert Orchid is like my favorite blush of all time. If all of my blushes like burnt in a fire tomorrow, I would go out and buy Desert Orchid just so I can sleep at night. So when she goes and calls something Desert Orchid 2, and there is also another like more nudie shade in one of the quads called, I think something with Nude Nectar or something of the sorts, then I'm like, well, god damn it, now I have to get that one as well. So I think I'm probably going to get that palette as well with the Desert Orchid 2 blush in there. And the other one I don't think I'm going to get, because it leans a little bit too pink for my taste. Just to quickly wrap up on the blush palettes, again, really smart. Her formula for these blushes is amazing. The single blushes are quite pricey, and I expect that the prices of these palettes are going to be really good. And aside from the 4 blushes, you're also getting a highlighter. So pretty good deal in my opinion. Again, it makes an absolutely beautiful Christmas gift for your loved ones or for yourself if you've never tried her formula and you've always wanted to try it. I think these are an amazing way to try her formula. And also for the stands out there, she made sure to put new shades so that they don't have an excuse not to buy them. Okay, the single blush and the single highlighter. I'm going to go over the single highlighter really quickly. It looks to be in the same formula that Lunar Nude was last year, and I can tell you for a fact that Lunar Nude has the VR type of shade formula. It's like that baked gelée, beautiful, smooth, very it looks very sparkly in the pan, but then you put it on your cheekbones and somehow it's not really sparkly. It's more of this glorious sheen that makes you look like you've been kissed by the sun or, you know, by a mermaid. As far as the formula goes, I can vouch only good things for it, and honestly the color also seems to be really beautiful. She describes it as a I think warm peach with silver sparkle or something like that, which sounds absolutely glorious in my book. And trust me, I'm also very tempted by this highlighter just because of the shade. But I think I need to slow down on PAT highlighters, and if I buy one of those blush palettes, there is going to be a highlighter in there, which I don't know whether it's going to be a repeat or not. I haven't dug that deep into that. So I think I'm going to lay low on the single highlighter, and if it turns out that it's a really beautiful shade and I would not be able to sleep at night if I miss on it, I will get it eventually on sale, because I don't think that's going to be one of the, you know, best sellers in the collection that's going to disappear very quickly. I think the highlighter is probably going to be there for a while, so I don't really worry about that too much. The single blush, on the other hand, I'm going to have a very hard time resisting, because it looks like the perfect nude brown, beige, pinky blush ever. It looks a little bit pale, to be honest, so I don't know that that's going to work for people of a deeper complexion. But you never know. Her photos and everything can be so deceiving that I think it will be very hard to tell until we see actual swatches. And because it looks like a very me color, I think I might not be able to resist it. And I really hope it's not going to turn out to be something like the rose beige situation with Gucci, where it actually leans way too rosy and way too mauvey. I find it interesting that she's releasing 2 blush palettes with highlighters in them and still the single blush and highlighter. So this makes me think that the cheaper priced, more affordable blush quartets with the highlighter in there are going to be meant for the people who wait for her Mega Mothership palettes because of the price point. And for everyone out there who, you know, can afford the luxury and actually wants to have the more luxury experience with her packaging for the holiday collection, for them, she's making the single blush and the single highlighter. Again, so smart that you're covering so many different audiences out there by just switching up the packaging and the presentation, because the embossing on that highlighter looks absolutely divine. And I'm sure that the collectors out there and the people who really appreciate her brand for the packaging are going to love that highlighter. They're going to be all over it. And if I wasn't trying to do the responsible thing, I would be all over it too. But I'm really trying here to do the responsible thing and not get it, because I really don't need another peachy highlighter from PAT McGrath. The black little coal pencil I don't really care for, so there's really not much to discuss there. The 2 lipsticks. Now the 2 lipsticks come in her matte trans formula, and from what I understand, that Nude Venus shade is new, and the red shade Forbidden Love is not new. One of you very kindly pointed that out, and I went to look it up, and indeed Forbidden Love is not a new shade. It is a classic red, and it's actually, by Temptalia's own words, 95% similar to Dylan from Tom Ford, which I own. However, it comes in that beautiful, you know, limited edition packaging with the gorgeous embossing on the bullet itself. And it's a classic red for the holidays. Am I really going to be able to resist that? I don't know. I'm not going to get the nude shade. I might get it eventually if it turns out to be a really irresistible shade. But I am very, very tempted by that gorgeous red. And finally, what I think is really fun and very much throwback to, you know, OG 2017 Pat McGrath, those colorful mascaras. Those are really like, what? I get it, but at the same time I don't get it, because these types of like colorful mascaras, in my personal opinion, are more of a summer kind of release rather than a holiday release, so those confuse me a little bit. I'll be honest with you, I have absolutely no intentions of getting the color mascaras, not because they're not fun, but because they're just so not me circa 2022. I used colorful mascaras a lot as a teenager. I still on occasion enjoyed colorful mascaras until a couple of years ago, mostly as like a lower lash line accent. But the thing is that a couple of years ago I discovered that you can use these little NYX Vivid liners just to like paint on your lower lashes if you want to have like a fun touch of color on there, and that works so well. And those NYX Vivid liners come in such a variety of like bright colors that honestly I don't really see the point of paying so much money for a mascara that you're probably not going to use all that often, because let's face it, I don't know anyone who uses a green or a pink mascara on the regular. These are going to be something that you do for funsies every now and then, or you know, as an interesting accent, but they're not going to be something that you're going to use on the regular. And mascara is the kind of product that dries out. I cannot stress this enough. Even if you've never opened it and it's just sitting in your drawer, it will dry out, okay? So I consider those to be quite the expensive investment for a product that you're going to get very little use out of, or at least I would. It's a really good thing that we are almost done with the look, because I think that those were the last items in the collection that I wanted to cover. I'm putting just a little bit of this brown here in the very outer edge of the eye. So in summary, what am I planning on purchasing? I will tell you the items that I plan on getting 100%, and I will also tell you the ones where I'm in doubt a little bit. I'm 100% getting the Mega Mothership. I'm 100% getting the Cool Toned 5-pan palette. I'm almost 100% getting the single blush in that nude shade. At this point, I think calling something Desert Orchid 2 pretty much means I'm going to get that blush palette. And these are the items that I'm getting 100%. I'm still doubtful about the red lipstick, like I said, because I'm not sure. I'm still doubting about the second 5-pan because of the fact that it's not exactly my color story, and I already have so many like beautiful purpley mauves from Pat McGrath herself. So yeah, those are the items that I'm a little bit in doubt about, but the rest I think I'm almost 100% going to get. Alright you guys, here is the final look. I finished it off really quickly with Spirited Away from Lisa Eldridge. I think these were all of my thoughts on the collection. I'm really glad we did this. I really needed to get this off my chest. I'm so curious what you think about the collection. I've already chatted with a number of you on Instagram, so I already have an idea how you all feel about it, and it seems like most of you are really excited. But do let me know in the comment section, what are you picking up? What are you excited about? What do you think about this collection as a whole? Let's chat about it. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!